This is Kim Sydow Campbell, and welcome to Fix This Writing. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, who I'm going to have introduce herself in just a second. If you would please take a moment in the comments to introduce yourself to us, tell us who you are, where you're joining us from today. We want to know something about who you are and what you do. So while you do that, I'll just tell you briefly, I am a professor of technical communication. I have a history of doing research in professional writing style, plain language things. I find it fascinating and useful. So that's why I'm joining you today. I'm going to let Leslie say a few words about herself.
Well, hello, everybody. Hey, Kim. I'm Leslie O'Flahaven. My company is called eWrite, and I'm coming to you today from the Washington, D.C. area. My company is a writing, training, and consulting company, so we help people learn to write well at work. And these Fix This Writing sessions with my buddy, Kim, these are some of my favorite things to do. So we're so glad you're joining us. We haven't seen any comments come through yet. Come on in and tell us, where are you joining from? Who are you and where are you joining from today? Because we want to show you how to fix some writing, but we also want to know your opinions.
There
Hey,
we
look.
go.
Yay.
We've got Frederick. Hi, Frederick. Freddie says he's joining from Dallas. Well, you're my neighbor then. I'm just a little north of you. Hi, Sophie in Florida. I hope
Safe.
that you're
Safe.
safe in Florida. Exactly. It's a little scary down there. We also have Sarah. Sorry, read the last name first. From Oklahoma City, also not too far away from me. We've got, sorry. Turna, hi, how are you? And Julie Woodard from Indy. And we've got Jonathan. Oh, that says Lindsay from Portland. Abook from Toronto, writing a poetry book. Cool. Stefan's from Paris. Awesome. We've got lots of interesting folks here today. Hi, Jerry May. And Emily, small town outside of Chicago. Antonio's from Italy. Glad to have you here, Antonio. And Jennifer, I know Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. There's Jose from Bowie, Maryland. That's not too far from you, is it?
No, it isn't, my dear, but we pronounce it Bowie.
Oh,
It's
really?
Bowie.
Oh, oops. Sorry, I just showed myself as a non-native there.
There you go. Right. You're not from around these parts, are you?
You're correct. You're correct.
Well, look,
All
Pascaline's here from Portugal.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw Daniel
from Nigeria.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Awesome. We're so glad you guys are here. We hope that you'll enjoy this. We do want to say before we get started that one of the things that we'll do to make the materials available, if you just come back to the link where the event was held on LinkedIn, you'll be able to watch the recording as many times as you wish.
There you go.
We will have your comments so that we can look at them later. And if there are things that you'd like to follow up with this on, we're really happy to hear from you and to interact with you in whatever way you would like.
That's right. And without further ado, shall I share and fix some writing?
I agree totally. Leslie, tell us what you have brought to us today.
Well, I have brought to you an invitation to attend an event. And this is from a condominium board, and they are hosting a listening session where the members of the condominium board are inviting all of the folks in the community to come join them so that the condo board members can listen to their concerns, their opinions during this Saturday, September 17th listening session. But so this is a specific type of an invitation. This came via email, and it's specifically for one condominium community. But I'm offering this as a fix this writing example for anyone who has to write an invitation to attend an event. And
Okay.
given our virtual writing life, I think most of us are inviting people to attend meetings or inviting them to attend webinars, to invite them to attend lunch and learn sessions. This is a more commonplace writing need, I think, than we might have thought. You might say, I don't live in a condominium community. I'm not a member of a condo board. But yes, you do. You
Yeah.
do invite people to come to things.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It happens to
yes,
most people at work too, I think.
yes,
There are always times when you're planning a meeting and you need other people to come. So
yeah.
while you all are reading, I hope that you'll chime in on our first question, which is why this writing needs to be fixed. I know that that's part of what Leslie's going to talk about. So
Well,
Leslie, why do you think?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on the statement you just made. While you're at work, you will often need to invite people to do things. And so I think that's true. And that's why I picked this sample.
Yeah,
But people don't may not want to attend whatever it is you're inviting them to attend.
that's
And
true.
how do we overcome the demands on everyone's
Yeah.
attention, or perhaps their reluctance to attend our
Mhm.
event? We write in a friendly tone, and this is why I've chosen this sample and why
Great.
I want to fix this writing, because the tone of this writing is weirdly officious, weirdly bureaucratic, and it's also hopping around from one way of speaking or one way of sounding to another. So let's take a look.
All
Condominium board
right.
listening session. Okay, then we get to the first paragraph. And I want all of you to listen for words that aren't part of our everyday diction. They're not the words we choose when we're actually trying to be friendly and invite someone. At our most recent annual meeting, we committed to scheduling an in person opportunity. I find this wording strange. We committed to it, right? To discuss various matters about our community. I don't think various matters is much of an invitation either. I, I don't want to go to the various matters
All
meeting.
right.
And then there's a lot of behind the scenes. We are scheduling that session on Saturday, September 17th. Well, okay, then go ahead and schedule it. Sophie says too much fluff, and I
Yeah.
agree. To
Absolutely.
the second paragraph is one we have no doubt each of us has written, and that is how to explain some COVID courtesies. So this
Yeah.
writer says to be courteous with our neighbors with remaining COVID apprehensions, which is so grand. It's like, hello, Kim, do you have remaining COVID apprehensions? You know,
Let me check.
let me check, right? Let me look in my bucket of
Yeah.
apprehensions and see if I
Uh,
have any. They're going to meet on the ball field. And then this is surprising. The parentheses supposed to be funny, and it is kind of funny. Sorry, no basketball during our get together. That is kind of cute. I like that. But given all of the rest of the blah, 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 or as Sophie said, too much fluff,
yeah.
the cute part doesn't land.
Yeah.
Should there be inclement weather? And almost all of us don't say that. Should there be
I
inclement weather?
inclement, not a common word.
No, no, that's a bit grand. The discussion will be postponed. And then this writer, bless his heart, continues. There will be no presentations during the aforementioned listening session, as it is our intent to keep this as informal as possible. Now, here I actually feel rather tenderly towards the writer. I believe the writer is sincere, that the listening session is meant to be informal.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to help the writer align the tone, because
Yeah.
it's hard to convince people that they're going to have an informal listening session if the
Yeah.
tone of the invitation is so formal.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Exactly.
Right. Please do come if you wish. Right. Should you intend to join the discussion? Every time I read a should you intend, I want to make may she rest in peace, the Queen's waving gesture. Should you
Yeah.
intend to join. Yes, right. Yes. And they want to access an accurate estimate about how many people are attending. So I will take a deep breath right
Okay.
now, and I'm dying to know what you think of this, Kim.
All right. Well, I really want to hear from our audience. We heard from just a couple of people about how, Brianna says this is a perfect example because she's actually involved with some folks who are putting together a homeowner meeting. I myself have been involved in several of those in the past. Sophie says, that this is a writing problem that she's seen and that it's too much fluff, ought to be more succinct. Jennifer says too many formal words. Oh, that's Daniel. Jennifer says simple sentences, pretty similar to what Daniel says. Too many formal words for an informal gathering. I agree totally. The inconsistency between the joke about the basketball and the desire to have people come and be comfortable together does not come across with the language that's used, with the style or tone that appears in this. And I have to say, I've seen so many of these over the years, I can't even count. Erica says, I want bullets.
Right.
Who, what, when, where. Right. Exactly. A good, often. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So folks are saying, yes, it is a writing problem they've seen before. And someone says, I struggle with this problem and this is helpful. I didn't mention the last comment on the last line on the message, we'll bring the Dunkin'. Of course, that means they're going to bring the donuts and the coffee, Dunkin' Donuts and coffee. And again, this is another one of these sweet moments, this kind of pinch your cheek moments. This is a person who is trying to be friendly, but it really isn't working. Meryl said a good strike through already helps too. Yes, indeed.
Less is more. So
right.
why do you think, Leslie, why would the writer write it this particular way?
I think people often fear that if they are warm and candid and they use everyday diction, that they'll be seen as less serious. So I think that could be it. Perhaps the person really feels the weight of their responsibilities on the condo board, and they think that a grander tone, a more bureaucratic tone, will possibly convince all the homeowners or the condo association members that they are serious and worthwhile. I think sometimes people exercise this tone muscle more at work, and they don't have enough practice exercising the other tone muscle, and it atrophies. So that could be it. Yeah.
That's certainly my experience, is that that people rely on this because that is what they were rewarded for in school, was using big words and fancy sentence constructions. And they, in fact, got in trouble with the teacher if they didn't do that. So unfortunately, I think it gets promoted. All right. So what Stanley's saying, yes, no reason given for why we have to meet. Right.
Okay, right. Yeah. Though this is a voluntary thing, it's a listening session, right? And I really, again, this is a home life example, but I thought it was quite meaningful to work life. We often invite people to attend things that they don't have to attend, but we hope they will attend. All right. So without further ado, let me show you my rewrite. Could I?
All right.
Okay.
How would you fix it?
All right, here's what I did. It's much shorter. It didn't go, Sarah said in her comment, this email could be 4 short sentences max. I definitely have more, but I tried to make it a lot friendlier. At our annual meeting in June, we promised to schedule. So there's the context.
Right.
We've scheduled this session. I even took the zeros off the 9 o'clock. You know, in the previous version, even the time here, I'll pop back. Even the time is hyper exact, right? We can just be 9 a.m. And we hope you will join us. Please RSVP. And then I did keep we'll bring the Dunkin'. And I moved it way up because if I'm coming on a Saturday morning to a listening session, I'm happy if there's going to be coffee. And I hope you agree that the we'll bring the Dunkin' lives happily in this version where it didn't live happily in the other version. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Jose said fluff writing leads to losing the main idea of the message, and nowhere is this more important than, like Leslie was pointing out in the beginning, right? Like we
Mhm.
want at the very beginning to know, like, what's the point here? I know we have
Mhm.
condo board listening, but we promised to schedule one. Here's when it's going to be.
Right. Here's when it's going to be. And then I tried to keep using a tone that would make people come. So in the third
Yeah,
paragraph, this will be an informal, friendly session, and I hope this is sounding informal and friendly
right.
because that was my plan.
Instead of fancy. So
In,
what Daniel said in answer to the previous question was the writer felt that being fancy with the words means that it's a more serious, that the message will be taken more seriously, or the writer will be taken more seriously.
Indeed, indeed. At the mechanical level, I used more we pronouns. I used more contractions, and I made my sentences shorter because
Mhm.
that's how I feel I can convey
Yeah,
a more casual tone. And
yeah.
along those lines, I want to show you something that I did. It's
Ah,
just a little experiment. I ran these readability statistics in Word to see how do the two versions measure up, and I
compare.
think this is pretty interesting. As a writer, I didn't do this first. I never sat down and said, let me write more sentences in active voice. I didn't work that way. I said, I
Yeah.
want these people to sound friendly and relaxed. But here's what the data shows. It
Yeah.
became it became 50 words shorter.
Shorter. Right. That's 25%.
Right.
Yeah.
I went down to
Mhm.
0 passive voice, which
Right.
surprised even me. And I think this is what's interesting to me. The sentences got a little bit shorter, 17 words in the per sentence average in the original version, and only 14. But that wasn't the key. It was actually cutting a lot of words and writing in active voice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this case, it because the active voice, it's all we. So it's
Mhm.
the condo board representative who's doing the writing. And so it makes sense to me that there'd be so many sentences that start with we, and maybe the writer was uncomfortable with that.
That's true. That's right, Kim. Someone laid a scolding on the writer and said, "Don't begin your sentences with the
Right.
word we." Now we
Right.
have a question from Robin about the RSVP and mentioning it twice. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. I think you're right. I did duplicate it. We could
yeah.
possibly take the final reminder off the
Yeah.
end. Yep. Yep. However, the final reminder, please let us know whether you can attend. I hope this contributes to a friendly tone and not like a naggy tone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
So one of the things that Jose is talking about is understanding the audience is so important. Not sure what the diversity of the tenants is, but if there are those whose English is not their first language, or if they were new to the US, could be the case, right? Even
Mhm.
words like Duncan or RSVP may not be clear. And so I think that that's an interesting point and something that all of us have to keep in mind when we're writing. I think those of us in the States are not always good about recognizing that not everyone speaks English.
Yes, yes, and won't find the cultural references or the
Right,
brand dropping in a brand name here and there
right,
very meaningful. They'll only find it confusing.
right.
Mhm.
So back
Yeah.
to how you fixed it, Leslie. What else do you want to say about how you fixed this?
I want to say that I moved the voice closer to my speaking voice.
Okay,
So that the words I would reach for when I'm speaking, if I were
right.
turning to a neighbor in the hall maybe and saying, "Hey, have you heard about the listening session? We really want everyone to come. Can you
Yeah,
come? Please let us know."
yeah,
That is what I would choose. And I think this is durable advice for most workplace writing, is that
yeah.
the
I agree.
diction you use in your workplace writing can be a lot closer to the diction you use when you speak at work.
Yeah,
And it probably should be.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Relationships are very important, and part of what we know from research is that the words that you choose in talking to people, those influence the way that they perceive you. So if the words you use are very far away from the ones they use,
Hmm.
then you're not building a relationship. You're maintaining a wall between you and your audience, and that's not usually what we want to do with the people at work. Maybe
That's
one or
absolutely,
two. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
no, no,
Just
you're
kidding.
absolutely right. We don't want to make the words increase the distance, especially when we want people to attend an event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
Jose
right.
was kind enough to say if we just all we have to really do is say, donuts instead of Dunkin', or
Hmm.
put donuts and then Dunkin', or even Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. Both.
That would be enough. You just use both words.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I'm curious to know if our audience has other things that they would like to see done to fix this writing.
This
Do we
writing.
have? Oh, we're getting close to the end, though, aren't we?
Hmm.
We
Yep.
are.
Anyone else want to weigh in? Is there anything else you'd like to ask about or have fixed? Meryl says headings would help. Yes, indeed, they might. And
Yeah.
I'm appreciate your point because some writers would think that, for example, the second paragraph, which is only 2 sentences long, is too short for a heading. But I don't
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
We could make a heading COVID
Yeah.
precautions or something like that, and that would be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I agree too.
mhm.
Absolutely. All
Great.
right. Well, before we leave, I want to make sure that I say Leslie and I are going to do another one of these LinkedIn learning
Live?
sessions.
Mhm,
Yes, LinkedIn live sessions on about fix this writing on October 18th. So please come if you can. If you have documents or messages that you'd like us to tackle, we're happy to take suggestions from you. You can get Leslie at writeonline.com. You can
oh,
connect
sorry
with,
about that.
oops, that's okay. You can
Mhm,
connect with either of us on Twitter, right? Or obviously you can get us on LinkedIn. You can message us if you'd like to.
mhm.
We're
Yeah, thank
so happy that everybody joined us today. I hope
w
they learned something.
I'm sure they did, and thank you, Kim. I like that reminder. Hey, everybody, we wanna fix your writing. We would
Yeah.
love it. Just throw us a curveball. Send us
Yeah,
something interesting. We would love to do that next time. And thanks very
absolutely.
much for joining us today. Kim, I'll
You
say
bet.
bye-bye for now.
Bye, Leslie. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.